Greetings, this is Rabbi Aaron Boxt from Temple Beth Shalom in Ocala, Florida, back with my podcast for the week. I would like to discuss a word that I have discussed in previous podcast sessions, but I want to spend a little bit more time diving deep into its actual meaning, and that word is Zionism or Zionist. You know, in today's world, especially in the younger generations, the word Zionist, unfortunately, has become sort of a slur, a negative description, unfortunately. I cannot stress the unfortunately enough. Because in all reality, the origin of the word Zionism links itself back to the city of Jerusalem or the land of Israel. And Zionism really became a major ideology, way of thinking when, especially after the Holocaust, but even before the Holocaust, going back to Theodor Herzl, the idea of creating a homeland for Jewish people in the world, a place where Jewish people could be governed by a Jewish government, a place where Jews could go and be free to be Jewish and not have to worry about being put in a ghetto or have a pogrom against them or any kind of catastrophic experience which Jews had experienced going back thousands of years. When the Holocaust happened, it was sort of a major affirmation of the need for this place. And today, when a person like myself says that I'm a Zionist or that I believe in Zionism, what I'm basically saying is I recognize the importance, the need for Jews to have a safe place to go, to be free, to not have to worry about being treated as less than or the other, which is how we've been treated for many, as I said, for thousands of years of history. Unfortunately, for some, what that term Zionist has come to mean is it has come to be equal to supporting the government of Israel. And if you call yourself a Zionist, then that means that you support everything the government does, good or bad. And of course, with the war, it's going on in Iran right now, with the October 7th, 2023 massacre, and then of course the preceding war that happened after that, the release of the hostages and all that kind of stuff. All of that has sort of clouded what it means to be a Zionist, because there are lots of really, 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 really bad things going on in the name of Zionism. And those people who are acting in that way, in my opinion, are just as bad as the people who say to be a Zionist is racist. To be a Zionist is bad. It's the wrong thing. It means you hate other people. Look, I am a true Zionist. I am a supporter of the land of Israel for the Jews. But that doesn't mean that other people don't have a right to be there. And it also doesn't mean that Palestinians should not also have their own land. Truth be told, I wish the Palestinians and the Israelis and the Iranians and the Lebanese and the Syrians and so on and so forth would all just get along and live in peace, because at the end of the day, most, not all, I would say, but most people that live in this world just want to live in a world where their children can be free, their children can be fed, can have a good education, and can have a life, a successful life in the future. And that's what it means to be a person who I believe is just. Justice is equality for people to be able to have what they need to survive, whatever that means, and to live in peace or in a peaceful place. So that doesn't mean that I'm going to automatically support everything that the government does or everything that the army does or everything that so on and so forth does. No. And I also doesn't mean that I support what's going on in the occupied territories or in the settlements. there are many, many people, Jewish people in the settlements, who are acting in anger and frustration or for whatever reason, but they're acting against what it means to be a just human being. They're acting against what God has intended for us to be. Look, to be Jewish is supposed to mean to live a life dedicated to justice, to treating people with kindness and love and respect. All people, regardless of where they're from, what color they are, what their religion is, or anything like that. And Israel should be a land where all people who live there are free to be whatever it is, whomever it is they are. Unfortunately, there are lots of people in this world, especially in the younger generations, who don't see that. They don't believe that people are Zionists for good reasons. They can say, I support Israel as a country, I support Israelis, but I don't support the government. I don't support all of the actions of the army, therefore I'm not a Zionist. And that's just not correct. In America, the word patriot used to have a different meaning than it does today. Patriot meant someone who supports their country. That doesn't mean that they support everything the government does or everything the military does. Protest and speaking out is how we have achieved the freedoms in our country that we have today, although many of them are under fire, under attack. But to be a patriot doesn't mean I support everything my government does. Same thing with Israel. To be a Zionist does not mean that everything that Israel does as a country, as a government, I should say, that everything that the military does is not correct. Look, truth of the matter is there's so much more good in Israel, many more opportunities to live a life in the way that I think that we all should live. Freedom, justice, food, places to live, education, etc. It is the small percentage of people, unfortunately, that are in power as well, that are really making that difficult. So, at the end of the day, I love Israel. I love the people. I love the land. I do not always support the government. I think the current government has many there are many bad things about it, many corrupt things about it. I think there are people in the military and in the police in Israel that are corrupt and are doing bad things, but that's a small minority. The majority, the very large majority of people in government and in the army and in the military and in the police forces in Israel are good people. The leaders just need to be changed. That does not make me less of a Zionist than anybody else. It just means I'm a Zionist with the realization that sometimes mistakes are made, or way too often they're made. And I believe that the way forward is for a new government in Israel. I'm supportive of a government that is representing what the people actually want. Security, education, justice, food security, places to live and raise their children in peace. This is what we all want. And this is, to me, this is what this means. Shabbat Shalom. Speak to you next time.